Since the launch of Nightreign, my YouTube page has been flooded with build guides, with titles like The Ultimate Executor Build, How to Win with Recluse Every Time. If you're not using this Raider build, you're playing him wrong. I've loved watching content creators and members of the community dig deep into the game data, relic setup, and obsess over the patch notes. It feels like we're all a team of researchers on the frontier, anxiously waiting for the results of our next experiment and testing out crazy new ideas. That said, there's also a side of this process that makes me feel a little strange. It's not the tinkering process or the superfans putting these sophisticated builds together. I love all of that. It actually is a side effect that comes from these fervorous discussions. The feeling of should. With rigorous testing through theory and craft, seasoned veterans of Nightreign begin to develop tier lists of Nightfarers and their kits, overpowered builds to counter every Night Lord, and even subtle tech like how to wiggle the Spectral Hawk at the start of the expedition to save time. The list goes on and on. Over time, certain winning formulas to each Nightfarer begin to dominate these discussions, and the implicit message that we should be following these guides. For a game where optimization is the name of the game, finding the optimal routing, weapons, passives, relics, and even team compositions, are we playing the game wrong if we don't follow these tested winning formulas? I myself have definitely felt pressure to conform. For a while, Everjail Relic was the meta. Then Knuckletale level 1 legendary drops, then Shattering Crystal and Carrion Slicer. And then there is the evergreen metas like Ironite and maybe Night Invaders. Now we have the Double Balancer relics and the Executor Curseblade build. And these are only the ones that I am aware of, as I'm sure there are plenty more. My fear was further exacerbated when the Deep of Night mode came out, and I started seeing randoms quitting out consistently when I would pick Guardian or Revenant, as they were seen as suboptimal in this game mode. I understood why, as these two characters were support focused and require much more RNG to be able to output the same damage numbers as some of the other Nightfarers. But I was still very disappointed at how difficult it was to be given a chance to play these characters. Even though they are in a much better place now after all these patches, it still appears as though people treat them different from the rest of the group. In fact, it's not just about the characters. There's a weapon hierarchy here as well. Certain weapons are must-haves if you play certain classes. Rivers of Blood, for example, is easily the single strongest DPS weapon for Dex arcane characters. Halo Scythe is the Gladius killer, and then there are the anomalies that are the Grafted Sword and the Mariah Sword. If you had another weapon in mind and pass on a Rivers, it is easily assumed that you're playing the game wrong and missing out on damage. But don't you want to win, you ask? Of course I do, but it's not that simple. I've been mulling over my thoughts on this, and it's a bit hard to explain. Let me illustrate my case with the example of the Icerind Hatchet. On paper, the Icerind Hatchet is a quality weapon scaling off of strength and dex, with a side of frost imbued to the weapon. It is not the best weapon out there in terms of damage, but it doesn't outright suck either. It's just kind of there, and I haven't really heard anyone talk much about this. I myself, however, am always excited when I come across it no matter which Nightfarer I'm playing as. I just love this axe that much, and there is so much nuance to this axe outside of its damage numbers alone. For example, have you ever noticed the sound of frostbite procs? It sounds like ice crushing on a hot summer day. It offers that refreshing textured sound that feels incredibly satisfying to me. And that, coupled with the sound of the sturdy axe attacks, makes the Icerind Hatchet my single favorite weapon in this game. I marvel at design choices like these, as each element in the game has their own associated sound. Some are more straightforward, like fire sounding like kindling, lightning sounding like electricity zapping, and then the less obvious ones like holy sounding like church bells and magic sounding like crystals. In the making of this video, I have come to realize that some of my favorite weapons hold special places in my heart precisely because I love the sound they make when I use them. This is the type of thing I don't really know how to explain to others. There is no obvious reason why I would pick this hatchet up if I was playing Executor, and I feel bad using it over a Rivers of Blood, as I feel like my teammates would feel that I am purposely missing out on damage, or that I don't get the game. There is an expectation to how an Executor should be played, a methodically calculated formula to the best DPS, and I feel pressure to conform to that standard. Amidst these Nightfarers and their most overpowered builds, I find myself drawn to one particular Nightfarer that frees me from this mold, the one Nightfarer that the player base has come to exempt from such expectations, the Revenant. Was it the first month of Nightreign's release that a meme circulated the internet of Revenant and her dual colossal weapons? Complete with her tragic backstory, Revenant's comically small frame makes it so easy for her to be the center of all the Nightreign humor. People find her funny, calling her the small angry child with big bunks. And for a while there, randoms I played with will purposely give me colossal weapons when I would play Revenant. It was freeing and fun, for as long as I was playing the small angry child, I could pick any weapon up and have fun with it. People either picked the funniest looking weapons or the weapons with the biggest damage numbers. There were no rhyme or reason as to what weapons I would use, but it would always be fun and hilarious as they grew to become inside jokes among my teammates. I love playing Revenant not because I love using seals in particular, but because she exists outside of this dome of expectations. Winning the game was still the goal of the game, but it was not always top of mind when we were on our journey to the night boss. We put down the urgency of the ticking clock and existed in those moments alone, present and immersed in the humor. I relished in these experiences, and the fear of being judged was one less variable I had to worry about in the community. My experience with Revenant gets me thinking that I really wish the other Nightfarers can be given the same grace, that they can be given the gift of low expectations. But really, it's not about expectations at all, it's about trust. I think people at times underestimate just how much teamwork and synergies matter in both expedition experience and the end result. I have had runs with randoms where we work so well together but lose the run, and I still feel satisfied and motivated to run it back. I've also had runs where we're completely uncoordinated and still manage to win the fight, and I feel the victory is hollow inside. In an ideal situation, we would have great teamwork and great results, and when they do happen with randoms, they become the exhilarating stories I tell to my friends. Inevitably, playing with randoms can be an inconsistent experience on its own, but luckily, there are always established communities to fall back on. One thing I've noticed about my own small community is how much the trust we have built here influences our love and the longevity of the game. We play with the intention of participating in teamwork and grow to know and trust each other's character through playing the game. As a result, I feel much freer in my experimentation with the game. I am much less afraid to bring out Nightfarers I am less fluent with, pit them against Night Lords I am not 100% comfortable with. I am much less anxious about trying silly builds and stretching them as far as I can to see how viable they can be, the result of which are often surprisingly successful. We give each other grace when we make mistakes, and we laugh at silly jokes and consequences of our decisions. After 1,300 hours of Nightreign, I still love it just as much as the beginning, if not more. And community plays a huge part in my experience of the game. This freeing playground allows for trial and error, bringing exciting new elements and refreshing insights, prolonging and deepening my passion for the game. I'm sure players in other communities experience the same thing, and I only wish that we can give the gift of low expectations to every player we come across. We're not expecting them to lose, but trusting that they'll always do their best even when they're not falling in line with our expectations. In a PvE game, it's us against the enemies, not each other. What sets Nightreign apart from the rest of FromSoft's game is that for once, we are not alone. We stand together, beginning to end. So don't give up, Skeleton, and until next time.